This is my podcast, I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode. Reality television. See, I hate reality television, except for the reality television that I love. I always say I don't watch reality television except for the reality television that I watch. It's a weird thing because I was in high school when The Real World started, and I remember watching it with my girlfriend slash fiance slash wife, various seasons through the years, and I stopped caring about it. I stopped just being interested in it because it started becoming a parody of itself, as far as I'm concerned. You know, the first few years it was really an experiment and something that was groundbreaking, and then I just realized it was people living in a house together. That was it. It's been over, it's been done, it's been played. I don't like watching reality television that is just people doing things. Like, I don't care about anything that has to do with any housewives. I don't care about any of these love relationship shows. My wife loves all the housewives. She loves that, Married at First Sight. She doesn't watch The Bachelor. And that's the one show where I say, okay, it's somewhat of a competition. But for me, all those shows are garbage. And yet, I watch a good amount of reality television. But for me, it's always reality competition. Survivor. Survivor has been on for over 15, 16 years. They've had over 30 seasons. And I don't think I've seen every season, but I've seen most of the seasons. I'm watching it now. Hell, before I recorded this, I was listening to a podcast about Survivor. I love Survivor. I've always enjoyed the aspect of these people are competing. They have to deal with each other. They have to work with each other and against each other. And I've just always enjoyed the aspect of the show of trying to outlast the other people without making such a jerk of yourself that they won't want to vote for you at the end. It's always been an interesting show for me. Another show that I love that I watched last night is Face Off. Face Off, if you're not familiar with it, is on Sci-Fi Network. It is a great show. If you like movies and special effects, it's perfect. Basically, that's what it is. It's artists that come from all over the country, maybe the world, I don't know, to create special effects through challenges and compete about who does the better special effects. My favorite thing about that show is seeing the things they create come to life. But what I really appreciate about that show is these people all live in a house together, and you barely ever see the house. You maybe a couple times a year you see them sitting around talking about things. But you don't go home with them, and you don't see them, arguing. It's like, maybe it's because they're all like cool hippie artists that they all just kind of get along. They all are there to support each other. They're competing, but they're not jerks to each other. That's kind of been the way, a lot of shows out there cast looking for the jerks. And I have to commend Face Off for casting looking for the best. And that's why the show, to me, is probably one of my favorite reality shows. Well, it absolutely is one of my favorite reality shows. But it's one of these, I look forward to seeing it every week. Because it's just about the art they're doing. Whereas I also am a big fan of Hell's Kitchen. I didn't watch Hell's Kitchen early on. I've only been into it maybe the last 4 or 5 years. But there's a show where you definitely do go back to the house with them. You definitely do see jerks acting like jerks. And of course, Hell's Kitchen's where I learned that every chef ever smokes. Seems like I would say 97% of all chefs smoke, as far as Hell's Kitchen is concerned. But you do, um, but I still enjoy it because I enjoy seeing them compete. I'm a big kind of food TV nerd. Um, that's why, besides that, Hell's Kitchen, I also really like Master Chef. They don't go back to the house with them. You don't, but you do see some jerks acting like jerks, and you do kind of get people that you like and don't like. But at the end, it comes down to the food, the food, the food. That's all that matters. They don't, Hell's Kitchen. It's how these people work, how these people manage, how these people kind of respond to adversity and food. Master Chef, it's just about the food. But I also like Chopped. That's a thing I like about Chopped is that it's self-contained. You watch one episode, you don't have to watch a whole season. You can watch an episode here, an episode there. That's why on Netflix I've been watching Cutthroat Kitchen. Again, I get annoyed when the people come in cocky and are pricky. I just want people to come in and do their job, do what they're there to do. But um, I still love it. I still really enjoy it. I still really like to see how people overcome. My phone just rang. Of course, I'm recording this on my phone, and of course it was unavailable. Does anybody else get these crazy cell phone calls from just all over the world that are garbage? Yeah, me too. Um, so that's why I like Cutthroat Kitchen because they get thrown these weird challenges and these weird adverse adverse situations they have to overcome. It's fun though. That's probably why I even watched America's Next Food Network Star. The thing about Food Network Star is that I think they've made one or two real stars. Man, they have some people that they've really stuck with out of the years and years that the show's been on. Um, I'm not even sure if they still do it. If they do, I haven't watched it. The last season I watched, some big cowboy guy won, and I don't even think he got a show. I think there was some weird controversy with him. There's been a couple weird things with that show, but I still watched it and still enjoyed it. The thing that annoyed me was the always talking about the culinary point of view. What's your culinary point of view? I like food. That's my culinary point of view. But I don't care for any of these shows where they just stick a camera on someone and you're just watching them because they're there. You know, anything Kardashian, anything housewife, anything, I guess, pretty much Bravo or E, I stay away from. Amazing Race, love it. I haven't watched this past season, but my wife and I have gone back and watched the last 3 or 4 seasons that we missed. That's something we do together. Um, Really, what it comes down to is I realize I like reality shows when people are doing reality competition. I don't care what they're making. If they're making food, if they're making special effects, if they're racing, if they're trying to challenge people, I enjoy it. I can even sit there for 5 seconds and watch American Ninja Warrior. I don't know. I just like to see guys doing crazy things competing. I watched the stupid Wipeout. Didn't watch it every week, but I enjoyed that sometimes. I don't know why. There's really not a great explanation of why I watched that show, but I did. I'm trying to think of any other reality shows that I watch. I mean, mainly it's Face Off, Survivor, and any food show, MasterChef, MasterChef Junior, Hell's Kitchen. I did watch Restaurant. Well, I the was it Kitchen Nightmares? I watched that a little, but it kind of wore on me because every episode someone would come in and they'd have a crappy restaurant. Gordon would tell them why they have a crappy restaurant, and they didn't want to listen to them because there'd always be someone there who says we have a great restaurant, but then why are they on the show in the first place? I just wanted to kind of talk really quick about reality. I've always wanted to do a blog post where I said I hate reality television except for the reality television that I love. And that's basically the theme of this episode. I just wanted to hit record and kind of see what would come out of my mouth, and I knew that it would be mostly Survivor, Face Off, and various cooking shows. But I mean, there were some that I watched all the way through, and they weren't great. There was some show on the CW where it was almost like Capture the Flag, where teams were trying to catch each other. I don't even remember. It might have been called Captured. I don't know. There was a show on the Sci-Fi that was about basically it was the Henson Workshop. That was really cool, but it was pretty much Face Off. It wasn't different enough for Face Off, except they weren't making makeup to put on people. They were making creatures and puppets. So it was. I'm wondering why it didn't come back, and it might have not come back because it wasn't different enough. But for me, it was still watching people, artistic people, create cool things, and that kind of is why I kept watching it every week. I thought it was just fun entertainment. I'm trying to think if there are any really bad reality shows that I watch, and I don't think there are. One cool show that billed itself as a reality show, but it just wasn't, and I miss it. There was a season a couple summers ago. NBC did a show called Siberia. If you ever have a chance or a way to watch this, I don't know if it's on any streaming platform. It might still be on NBC.com. I don't know. It was really a well done show because they kind of edited it like a reality show, and they put it together, and they presented it as a reality show, but it wasn't. It was a drama. Um, but the neat thing is all the actors played their real first name. So if you looked up on IMDb, all the actors, basically all the contestants, used had their names, and they weren't really like nobodies. They weren't really in other things, um, except for one person on the show who didn't go by her name. But there's a twist, and there's a reason for that. And of course, sadly, now she's one of the housewives. But I know her as one of the ladies from Siberia. It's not a reality show. It really doesn't belong here, but I just thought of it, and I had to bring it up, and I wanted to mention it in case you ever get a chance to watch it. I thought it was pretty cool. Um, oh, I've come to the point where I watch reality shows sometimes on streaming networks. Now, I don't know Netflix. I'm sure they have some reality shows. They have a cooking show that I didn't really watch. Hulu had a show where they just followed mascots around. Okay, there you go. That's the worst reality show I watch because it is just following people with a camera, but at least there's a theme to it. You're following mascots, a high school mascot, a college mascot, a pro mascot, and like a freelance mascot. You're following them in seeing what they do day to day. Now, I think a lot of it was contrived, meaning they gave them things to do so that they could film it and make a show out of it. These people's lives probably aren't like this all the time. Um, that's just a guess on my part. But for some reason, I watched 2 seasons of this show, and I'll probably watch the third season. And again, I have to admit, it isn't. It doesn't stick in the wheelhouse of reality competition, but I still found myself watching it. Oh, and of course, Shark Tank. I love Shark Tank. I haven't watched After the Tank or whatever it's called, After the Deal, but I love, love, love Shark Tank because you can watch it 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there until you catch up. And it isn't, it, it, it kind of is competition because people are competing to try to get a deal. They're not competing with each other. They're basically trying to sell themselves, sell their product. And I always find that fascinating. And I love the idea of people inventing things. I've always liked the Today Show used to do a thing with kid inventors or people that invent things. And I've always loved that stuff. Anytime you get to see something that's brand new that someone developed, I think it's great. There was a show where it was about inventing products. They kind of tried to catch on to the tried to jump onto the Shark Tank kind of bandwagon, and I forget if it was on Fox or CW or something like that, but nothing nothing can compare with the original. And of course, Shark Tank is really not quote unquote original. It's a spinoff of some Canadian show or a reboot or whatever. You know what I'm talking about, a version. Um, but I really enjoy it because you kind of it is real. It is you're dealing with people who are trying to get on the show to show their product or their business and trying to get real-time investors to invest with them. And of course, some of these products you'll see on your door, on your door. Some you'll see at your local store. I own the Scrub Daddy because it was on uh, Shark Tank. I don't think I'd have one if it wasn't. And it's just a little sponge, but I love it. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much my leap into reality television. I mean, It's basically, now I'm thinking, did I watch a show on CW with my wife where a farmer tried to find love? I feel like it was like Farmer Takes a Wife. I want to go cry now that the fact that I actually watched that show. I feel stupider and stupider. And I don't even think stupider is a word. I think it's more stupid. But I feel less self-respect the fact that I just remember that I watched that. Um, but if and my wife loves it. If I walk in the room and there's a housewife or a Kardashian, I will leave the room. And then all of a sudden, I'll be working in the other room and I hear something and I respond to it. I say I have to put my headphones on because I think it's just so terrible. But you know, people enjoy it for a reason. It's just I don't have a reason to enjoy it. My wife does, and I'm not going to go as far as say I respect that, but I have to say that I'm going to have to at least accept it that my wife watches some really trashy reality shows. And to me, I think, of course, my reality shows are only the classiest and only the best thing to be watching. And if you guys watch reality shows, leave a comment on the blog or tweet me at Geek Mentality. You can find me at fansnotexperts.com/Geek Mentality and on Twitter at fansnotexperts. And as I said, at Geek Mentality. Now I have to go because I have to go finish listening to that Survivor podcast, which if you're interested, it's called Rob Has a Podcast. He's a former Survivor contestant who does a very good podcast, gets lots of people on the show. If you're a fan of Survivor, it's a cool show to listen to. And that's really it. My lunch break is just about over and I'm going back to work. So goodbye.